People don't commit suicide because they don't like life. They just don't like the life they're living. You will never have real power until you deal with real pain, because real ministry comes from real pain. And you can never take people through what you have never been through. We cheer for our athletes, but we don't cherish them. Because when you cherish something, you'll correct it. When you cherish something, you'll protect it. Every coach has his coach, right? You know, every lawyer has their own lawyer. So, right, I'm out here living it, teaching it, helping everybody else through their mess. Who's to help me? So I did.
You are now locked in for the Comeback Kings podcast. Let's go!
All right, fellas, listen up. I'm about to let you in on a little secret that could save you thousands of dollars every single year. Why keep spending big money every month just to watch your favorite shows and sports, especially when there's Renegade TV? I used to pay monthly for YouTube TV, Prime, Netflix, Disney Plus, and because I couldn't catch my favorite teams locally, I had to drop even more money on NFL Sunday Tickets, NBA League Pass, MLB TV. It was sickening. Then I found Renegade TV. One device, one low price, and you get live access to every major sports league, NFL, NBA, MLB, UFC, you name it, you got it. You also get all the newest releases and thousands of movies and shows on demand. No subscriptions, no monthly fees, no hidden fees. Just one setup and you're set. So now I'm saving hundreds of dollars every month and easily thousands every single year. So go to streamrenegadetv.com and use code CBK2025 to save $50 at checkout. Oh yes, Kings, we are back for another episode of the Comeback Kings podcast. I am your host, Aaron James. Today, I've got the good brother Jermaine T. Johnson with us. We're going to have a hell of a show today. Mr. Johnson, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me, good brother. Thank you.
Listen, man, it's been a minute. So for those of you guys listening in or whether you're watching this, Brother Johnson has been one of my favorite mentors, one of my favorite coaches, and just an all-around great guy. I mean, we've known each other we could probably count 10, 15 years that we've known each other.
Please.
And I've been begging him to get on this podcast, so I'm so glad to have him here with us. So, hey, listen, brother, while you're here, just say what's up to the Kings out there and let us know what you got going on and how you living.
Well, all the Kings, but I know some Queens will see this as well. So for all of you that are seeing this, look, it is an honor to be here, though. Whenever that my brother AJ just calls me or texts me, usually whenever I'm speaking at anything, I do my research and pray about it, of course, and I want to know what the format is. But he asked me, and I said yes. We just had to get it on the calendar, and so it could fit into my schedule. But I'm just happy to be here. I don't know the direction of this. I'm going to let him lead and let God flow, and whatever I can do to just help somebody by way of being transparent with my story, who I am, that's what I'm all about.
Well, listen, brother, I don't have much more direction than you do, so we're just going to let it flow and see what comes of it, man. But like I said, let me just say this for everybody listening in. One of the reasons that I wanted to have Jermaine on the show today is he's probably one of the most successful people that I know. And, you know, I've heard tons and tons about his story as we've grown up together over the years. I've loved just the humility that he operates with and the fact that he truly inspires and leads other people by his example. And so, Jermaine, while we're getting this thing started, why don't you just give us a little bit background of what you got going on right now and some of the stuff that you're excited about.
Well, as far as just to get to know you first, and I'm going to answer that question, respectfully, what I got going on now. But for those of you that don't know who I am, hello, I'm Jermaine Johnson. My former life, all those types of things. So my former life, I come out of, I used to be one of the top youth pastors in the nation. I come out of the Grand Old Church of God in Christ, Los Angeles, California. And so I was out there, started off as, say, the janitor of the church, and I became the director of social services, and my heart has always been with young people. So, but born and raised Los Angeles High School, those Sonoma State University, California, Northern California, all those types of things, Fuller Theological Seminary, all those types of things. But now I currently reside in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona, where it is warm, where some of my other brothers that are on this call, they out there in that cold. See, pain is necessary, suffering is optional. See, so anyway, with that said, so now we're in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona, no, I'm here with my beautiful wife. Three older children are off doing their thing. Daughter graduated out of Howard HU, anyway, that's it. I'm just excited about life and this stage of life that I am in. I have to ask my wife sometime how old I am because I forget. It's a state of mind. Plus,
brother, you look clean and young too.
And so, men of Kappa Alpha Psi always, we keep it, sexy. No, I'm sorry. Praise God. But we're out here. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about just say the direction of life, the things that God has me placed in, working on. Of course, as you know, I've been in the network marketing, direct sales, affiliate marketing space now for some 35 years. And I love it. Whereas I love to build people and I love building business and I love putting God first in all that we do. Of course, I no longer pastor all those types of things because I'm crazy and half past ignorant. When I got baptized, I kept one fist out of the water. They didn't get all of me.
They get you.
So no, I keep it real. And so that's just it. And that's why, though, you and I are probably still the way we are today.
100%.
Because that's it. So happy about that stage of life, what we're doing, of course, in the direct sales industry, skincare. That's why I'm glowing the way I am. K-beauty, though, my wife and I got involved in the K-beauty industry and it's trending, as you heard Jay-Z.
What's K-beauty?
I'm sorry. Korean skincare, as you know. Okay. Seriously, I mean, what other culture is defined by their letter, and their influence is just huge right now. Of course, I'm not Korean, of course, because, my grandmama, like some of y'all's grandmothers or parents, lied to us and they said black don't crack and beige don't age and Asian don't raisin. But that's a lie. You better learn to take care of your skin. Look, you better take care of this stuff. Look, seriously, though, for my kings that are seeing this, men are 1/3 more likely now to get a melanoma, skin cancer, because we don't take care of ourselves. And so, but K-beauty, K-drama, K-content, you see, y'all only know Korean barbecues. Shame on y'all. Look here. There's other, look,
Well, I'm a DJ, so I know K-pop too. But,
K-pop, turn on Netflix. 60% of its viewers are watching something with Korean content. So it's trending. And the way to success is to find out where everybody else is going and you get there first. And so we found out this #1 K-beauty brand was coming here to the United States. And my wife and I, we got started 18 days after it got started here. And since then, being in this industry of direct sales, affiliate marketing for 35 years, we have never been more financially blessed in this industry than now. So we're excited about that.
And it's called, what's the name of it?
Riman, R-I-M-A-N. Riman stands for Reborn, Rebirth, Gift of God, and Independence. And I like all of those.
I was going to say, that's right up your alley, man. That's right up your alley.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So we're excited about that. And then also, I use that to also focus on my passion. And so we founded a foundation called Game Changers Athletic Education Foundation. And during COVID, we wrote a curriculum called Right to Play, Rite of Passage, because a lot of our young aspiring athletes really, they get, and now with NIL and all those types of things, they're getting all this type of income at an earlier age. And so there is no such thing as athletic education in our United States school system. So the way we did it is we wrote this curriculum. We're starting to teach it in schools, and then we're lobbying to get athletic education as a required elective in the United States school system.
So give me an example of athletic education, because I'll tell you, we could probably talk for 20, 25 minutes on NIL and the way that it's.
Yeah, that's a whole podcast in itself, but
yeah,
it could be, what you and I were even taught in the personal development space, all the different types of stories and examples. And so, I mean, you could take whereas, just young people in their associations, right? Due to some of their associations, I mean, you and I, though, were taught, right? That associations do more on you than you do on them. And there's some all-star athletes that we may not even known of due to some of their associations. Allen Iverson, I mean, we know his story, right? And still it was because of some of his associations that, kind of changed, say, the course of his life, but only by God's grace was, yeah, right. We got to see his talent. And so, they aren't taught these things, let alone finances, man. You talk to Magic Johnson, who is just, I mean, he has mastered this. But when you talk to him, he learned from someone else's mistakes. Well, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because he almost went broke because of his accountants and the team he had around him. So Magic learned from someone else's mistakes. Take recently, Antoine Walker, you remember from the Boston Celtics. Man, how many, on Lamar Odom, he woke up one day and found himself paying for 120 some people's cell phone bills. What's going on? But my passion comes about this because I played football, but I had sons that played football in LA, and they were eligible enough to actually be on the field. But when it came time to walk the stage, they weren't eligible enough to walk the stage, though, for graduation. And so I'm being transparent about this. Where is the dilemma here? What are we doing? Where's the emphasis? And so there's so many elements to athletic education. It could even be just, learning how to interview when you're being interviewed or anything.
Yeah.
Who's teaching them? Here's the problem for whoever's seeing this, because I can go so many directions on this. We live in an age, we cheer for our athletes the same way that, hey, I'm a parent, you're a parent. We cheer for our athletes, but we don't cherish them, because when you cherish something, you'll correct it. When you cherish something, you'll protect it. And we see this happening on and on and on, cycle after cycle. And if somebody doesn't stand in the gap, that generational wealth that's being transferred into our communities because of those that have made it in sports, entertainment, it's going to be cut off. And now if you go back and trace to some of the drafts for the past 10 years, now they're starting to draft more overseas than the draft here. Why is that? Because ours are seen as a liability. See, man, this is a whole nother, this is our foundation that we're doing. And so what we're going to be doing the same way that you and I came up with doing events, we're going to take these tours all around the nation. And so that we're going to be doing them in arenas where we invite all of the athletes, aspiring athletes from all the local high schools in Florida, in Texas, in those areas. And then we're going to bring pro athletes to come to teach, not just from their successes, but from their mistakes. I remember Kenny the Jet Smith actually said about there's the 3-second rule where athletes have about 3 to 5 seconds to make a conscious decision about what they're going to do. They're in a situation, are they going to walk away or they're going to do this? You can take the young man, I forget him from, he came out of, Alabama, I think, and he was playing at the Raiders. And now he's in prison. Oh, I forget his name. Anyway, and he kills.
Ruggs.
Killed, right, as we know the story, and now he's in prison. Talented. And the thing about it is that he didn't have to get in that car. He didn't have to drive big, because I know the Raiders, they provide a no questions asked VIP service to pick you up because of that environment that the Raiders are in Vegas. Now we'll never see him to his fullest potential. But who's teaching them? So we're missing it. We're missing it, brother, in so many areas. Financial, though, literacy, conflict resolution. Here's the last one I'll allude to about this. I know you didn't plan for us to talk about this long, but here's this last element to it. These young athletes are raised in a entitlement society. They're told yes. When they're aspiring to play on that field, they're told yes. They're told yes. They're told yes. The first time that a young girl tells them no, what happens? Because they don't know that. They've never been told no. So when you see them knocking one out on camera, right, hitting someone, how do they handle that anger, that conflict resolution? And I love my boy, and I know, yeah, right, people will comment about this and all that, but one of the most gifted athletes ever was Ja Morant. Man, his game was off the chart. Now,
Well, you know he's still playing, right?
oh yeah, he's still playing.
Okay.
He's still playing, and I'm not going to knock that. But still,
But it's a wrap for him.
I mean, yeah, he's still playing, but he was going to be the next face of the league. But now what? Somebody's not. We're missing the mark here, and so that's why we put this all together. And I know there's others, and so just all the different things, how you teach it, and AI can't replace what we're going to be doing. AI can't do that because it's how you teach them. And so we're going to be doing these conferences all over the nation. We're going to be teaching our curriculum in the schools to aspiring athletes. Our curriculum is called Right to Play, Rite of Passage, because you should go through this. This should be a required elective in the United States school system. Because when my boys went to school, when I went to school, when you and I went to school, we had electives where we had what? Office monitor, woodwork, whatever the other one was, yearbook, typing, anything. Those are electives. Why isn't there an athletic education?
There should be.
Should be.
Absolutely should be.
Anyway, so you can edit this out of this, but
I'm not editing this at all. As a matter of fact, brother, what I'm going to tell you is, Kings, as you're listening in, I think you can start to see right now that I'm learning about this at the same time that you are. But I'm fascinated by it because it is such a need. And this is what the Kings community is all about, is helping our kings grow up to be king-ish, right? And so this is probably something that we're going to need to have an offline conversation about, and maybe even get a little bit of a seminar or something going on inside of the app as well. So we can definitely continue this conversation at a later time. But what I'm hearing from all of this is, brother, you living life. You are living life. I heard you said earlier that you're excited, and you know, the world that we come from, we always say the word excited, and lots of times it's just, you know, said with nothing behind it. But you got a beautiful wife, you got a beautiful family, you got a beautiful business, you're traveling. Apparently you live in a place that's nice and warm, you know, like, and you got a thriving side business. What else you got going on? You got a book or something, right?
I do have a book. I wrote a book, and I don't ever promote it in that sense, but of course, I do have a book. It's just something that I did that was on my heart, and it's called Don't Clone Me Yet. I Want to Be at My Best. Because, you know, we have cloning and all of that, but don't clone me yet. I want to be at my best. It's the ultimate guide to being the best version of yourself. Yes, you can get it on Amazon, all those types of things. But with that said, and of course, you know, everybody has taken things the way they say, there's nothing new under the sun. But honestly, the one portion of that book that I'm going to encourage all of the kings, and I know this is kind of what, or I would sense that the purpose of this Comeback Kings, or the essence of it, one thing that I had to do that I put in that book was that I went through life's ups and downs, and I did. Jermaine Johnson used to be, right, you know, in the ministry, ranked in the ministry and all this stuff. And man, I went to therapy and I went to counseling, and I did. And I know that's something, especially as African-American men and just men in general, we have shied away from it. I hear now how Charlemagne the God, that he promotes it, you know, but I did, because, you know, every doctor has a doctor. I'm a life coach, but every coach has his coach, right? You know, every lawyer has their own lawyer. So, right, I'm out here living it, teaching it, helping everybody else through their mess. Who's to help me? So I did. And I went to it for 13 weeks. I went to it, and doing that deep dive in it, to do that, what they call amygdala hack. And I got into that portion of my brain, and I went to some places, and I went through that. I did process journaling, because there's about there's all forms of journaling: gratitude journaling, explorative, but process journaling. And I did that. And I did that so that we could find where my triggers to my trauma was, because I found out that I was carrying triggers, or I was carrying trauma from relationship to relationship. And in doing that, there were triggers that had never been addressed, and I did not know where the hurt and my pain had come from. And from those 13 weeks of me going to therapy, I actually found out, I discovered where my four dominant areas of trauma was. One was from the church. One was from a business venture that I gave what I thought was 12 of my best years to. And that's where that was a lie, because that's not my best years, because the latter shall be greater. And in doing that, that's where my own study, which we'll get to, whereas I discovered that some of those are called memes. It's memetics, and it's these messages that have been passed down over and over and over that we carry too. And so I went and I addressed that. We can talk about that later, because it's not true. Those weren't my best years. And so anyway, and then from my mother and my father, it wasn't even from a failed marriage, but my mother and my father. And I didn't even know because I was raised by my great grandmother, but I didn't know I was carrying a trigger even to my father. I didn't even address that hurt. So when I was taught to go write these process letters, and I talk about it in my book, I wrote those process letters to those areas of pain. It brought those triggers to the trauma to the forefront. And there were even sounds when I used to listen for my dad to pull up in his van, because he had a chirp on his old school van. Y'all remember those vans? He had a chirp when he backed up. And so I was carrying that trigger, always listening out for him. So in other words, I had abandonment issues. Never thought Jermaine Johnson had abandonment issues. And now I'm carrying that into relationships with my wife now and all this types of stuff. And so anyway, I went and I did the work. And it's because of that, it has helped me so much. Whereas this point in my life, and to add to that, and I know this is a lot for some of you, but I'm going to encourage you to make it simple. Look, one of my mentors, Dr. Monroe, the late, great Dr. Miles Monroe, he used to always teach us that so many people in life, as you remember, Jim Rohn said that you need to choose if you're going to be a meaningful, specific, or wandering generality. Yes, and a lot of us are just wandering because we never answer the 5 greatest questions about your life. And Dr. Monroe, I remember that he used to teach it in this sense, is that the first question is, who am I? That's a question of your identity. You got to answer that question, right? And then the second one is, where am I from? That's the question of your heritage. And that isn't Evergreen, Alabama, or St. Louis, Missouri. No, your heritage. Trace it all the way back. See, I traced ours all the way back to Cameroon. I've gone over to Lagos and to Nigeria. I'm going to Ghana in a couple of months. See, your heritage. And then, but you know what it is? It's even beyond that too, because when you trace it all the way through, it's who do you come from? Who created you? And then the third one is, why am I here? That's a question of your purpose. The fourth one is, what can I do? That's a question of your potential. And the fifth one is a question of, where are you going? That's a question of your destiny. And so many people, they live their entire life and they never take time to answer those 5 questions. And that's why we struggle. And yet we're here trying to teach our men. You see, our purpose here is to take action and have an effect on the world.
Speak on it, brother. Listen, I mean, I will say this, probably, and this might be a sign, right? You know, they say you see signs. Probably 50 to 60% of the kings that I've had on this podcast have alluded to some kind of self-work.
Oh, yeah.
And therapy. And that's a sign, right? You know, the successful people go through it. It's not just for the people that are not successful. It's like, how do you get to where you want to go?
Yeah.
And I love hearing that from you. And I love, and say the name of the book again.
Don't clone me yet. I want to be at my best. Even before I wrote that, way before I wrote that, I think Socrates said it to what you were alluding to. The great Socrates said, "The unexamined life is a life not worth living. The
That's right.
unexamined life is not worth living. You got to go
Yeah.
through, examine your own life." And I took time. I said, man, no, I want to be happy. Life's too short to be miserable.
Yeah.
And then am I going to leave from here and not have left a mark on the world? And so, yeah. And then the other thing, no, brother AJ, is that got me, as you'll probably don't get dig into, but a lot of the things that I went through, a lot of the things that I've gone through in life have been to silence me. And I have brothers all the time. They call me, brother, though, when you going to start your podcast? When you going to do something? When you going to write a book? Okay, I wrote a book, but still, that's not my best book because the best one's coming. It's right. There's some more coming. But I'm just telling you, it's like, man, it's been, as some of you, and I pray that you all pick up on it. Honestly, people try to hide it, but I've stuttered all my life. See, I've been attacked about my speech forever because I've stuttered all my life. I've had a speech impediment. I used to bite until my tongue was bleeding. I used to stomp and everything. And I would be up on stage speaking to 30 some thousand people, whatever, 40 some, 60 some thousand people in other countries and all of this. And I would get hung up on a word or something and all that. And those were times where I went on the stage and I forgot to pray first. And God was just teaching me lessons. So God just uses this humbling habit so that I don't get the big head in the way my grandmama said. But
No, that's right.
at the very area that I see everything I've gone through has been things to silence those voices. And all of us as kings, I'll say here, we constantly wrestle every day with the voices of judgment, the voices of cynicism, and the voices of fear. With judgment, you would have doubt. So let's just call that the voice of doubt, voice of cynicism, and the voices of fear. And I'll come back sometime on this and just share more about those voices constantly are at work in you on a day-to-day basis to keep you from these other two voices. And that's the voices of value. And you get those from your association. And the fifth voice is the voice of God. And a lot of the attacks on my life, whereas as you're listening to them and you're not hearing God. Because when you hear God and what God thinks about you, what he has for you to do, oh man, you get such clarity. But all these other voices are at work. And that's why that therapy is good. Because man, we're wrestling with voices. Because there's been some storms in my life where, and a lot of brothers I talk to, they thought about like, man, I'm just not, man, what if? And I just gone and I check out of here and all that type of stuff. And
Yeah.
a lot of people, right? People don't commit suicide because they don't like life. They just don't like the life they're living. And I find a lot of brothers where they have thought about it. I'm not gonna lie, there were times where I had some dark days. I thought about it. But I came in this world fighting because my mom had me at 16 when she was in the marching band at LA High School, and she wore a girdle in the band, so they didn't know she was pregnant. She still had me at 9 pounds, 8 ounces. But before that, because it was an embarrassment in the church, they took her and they had her in the abortion table at Culver City in Fox Hills Hospital in Culver City. It isn't even there anymore. And they had her strapped down, and she got up and ran because she said an angel appeared to her over in the corner, said, he has too much purpose to die. Get up and run and give birth to him.
Let's go.
And so despite what the church or public opinion was, she got up, ran, she gave birth to me. So I've been fighting all my life. I got too much purpose to die. God measures life in terms of purpose. So I make sure I'm always doing something that pleases him.
Let's go. Well, you're right where I want to be right now, which is let's talk through, because listen, all this great stuff you got going on right now, and you've already alluded to it a couple of times, that there have been some times that weren't so great. And I always like to highlight those. And let's talk about that, because that's important. The whole point of the comeback is you've had some kind of setback. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about a setback or an obstacle that you had that really I don't want to say defined you, because setbacks don't define you, but that really made an impact on you and changed the way that you were living?
Man, well, for those of you that are hearing this, so for my kings and my queens, here. To be blessed is the uncanny innate ability to succeed over adversity. I'll say it again.
Okay, you're going to have to slow that down and say it again. Say it again.
To be blessed is the uncanny innate ability to succeed over adversity. And so I'm going through it, and that's why, but it it's in the moment, it's in the test, it's in the trial. And as people say, everybody that's from the church, like they let you know they from the church, even though they out there doing their own thing in the club. They always say, I got trials and tribulations. You just told on yourself because you just used the words trial and tribulation. That means you was raised in the church. Anyway, everybody always say, I got trials and tribulations. Yeah, man, please look. But it's because of that I know who I am and whose I am, because the devil's attacking me. The devil he wouldn't be after you if you didn't have so much in you. He wouldn't be after me and be going through hell and hot water and all that stuff. Man, it's like, oh my God. It's like, the way I always say, right? Even in stuttering is an involuntary disruption. And me in life, physically, in stuttering, I've always had involuntary disruptions. But everybody that's hearing this, in life, you will have your own involuntary disruptions. Mine is just audible. Yours will come from places that you didn't even know. It's like, oh my God, I didn't think the attack would come from you. I didn't think it would be in my house. I didn't think it would be this. I didn't think it would be in my bed. I didn't think it would be, oh, man, just the enemy just trying to distract you from your destiny, to steal your focus, to steal your thoughts and all that. So to answer your question, man, please, I even thought about how much of this that we can say here, because, man, this stuff, man, when I was in the church, it was something I always say to my boys or my partners, because I love God. I love God with all my heart. It's in him I move, I live, I have my being. And I honor him in every area of my life. And but I have, within the church, right? I have seen too much, I know too much, and I've done too much. Do I attend church? Yes, I have a wonderful church home here. But in working in it, man, back in the day, and I had done things whereas I was not pleased. And I made some mistakes even back in the day. But right, as Bishop Ulmer once said, he said that we really wrestle in the area of restoration when it comes to the church. And that's something ironic to hear about the church, but we really don't do good in the area of restoring. And Bishop Jakes even said that forgiveness is the final frontier. And that's something that a lot of us need to practice in so many areas of our life. So I went through stuff in the church. I did. And then from there, I went into, I continued in the network marketing space, and I decided to leave from a particular company and organization at the time, which up until this podcast, I have not talked about. I have not talked about publicly. I've had brothers that said, man, how come you didn't never say anything? How come? And then I've had some that have said, man, you're so admirable. And it's kind of like, I assume I kind of relate on church, network marketing, business, and all that. A lot of these truths won't come out until some people have gone on in whatever sense, in politics too. And so I just say it. So when I gave 12 years to a business, that's where you and I actually, well, that'll say it, but you and I actually met. When I left from there, I went through a period, whereas something that I gave 12 years, 13 years of service to in so many areas. When other people would quit, I would be called into cities to go help and speak and keep people engaged and all of that. Then when it came time for me to leave, I went through, because of what they would say, how I left, that I went through charges in a sense. I was sued in judicial court. then to federal court, then to bankruptcy court. I had forensics sent to my house to sit in my house to take all of my cell phones, all of my computers. I sat through court depositions, 238 depositions, or just stacks of paper answering questions, and yeah, everything. So I was finally, I was sued for $500,000, and it was just that. Yep, all of my leaders are still in that company.
$500,000.
$500,000, and still until this day, all of my leaders are still in that company. So I can't say I took anybody.
Well, okay, so we're about to dig deep.
No, don't do that. I've never talked about it. I've never talked about any of this. But
and we don't need to get into specifics or names or anything else like that. But here's what I want to know through this, because that's some stuff. I wanted to say another word on here, but now I got a pastor on my show. I can't say what I want to say, But what you were going through,
yeah,
and even before you left, and the reasons for you left, you share whatever you want with that. But I want to know the emotion behind it. I know mentally what you're going through,
and that's
how that was impacting your family.
You will never have real power until you deal with real pain, because real ministry comes from real pain, and you can never take people through what you have never been through. So, you can't. So therefore, I had to go through this stuff so that I could come back and help people through it and talk people through it when they're going through their stuff. Because I've had brothers that come to me after they went on and did other things, and like, how did you get through it, brother? Man. And I will say the pain of it, the emotion of being literally attacked from people that you held to be close and family and all that. I'd wake up some nights in deep sweats. I would have dreams as though I was running through the wilderness being hunted, like in Hunger Games, literally. Those were my dreams or my nightmares, because I'm being attacked. And when you have high power attorneys come into court against you, and it's like, bro, nobody, where the attorney's defending you is like, dude, whose wife did you sleep with? We ain't never seen anybody in this industry be attacked like this. What did you know? Or who did you know? God bless. So I was at, and I didn't leave for any money or anything. I knew there was a better way out there. And so, but that period of my life, brother, it was hard. It was scary. And I cried many nights, and my wife would lay her hands on me because I was just in the bed crying and scared. And it was on that time that, you got to understand, man, I've been through everything. Back in the day in college, I had someone to threaten my life or something. And I, had a hit put on me at one time. And so, but it was then that I opened up the word of God, and it opened up Psalms 27. Then I turned over Psalm 34. And so it's just like, brother, and God told me, as long as you put me first, I got you. And so that's what I did. And it's those times, though, that, it's things like that that put you back on your knees. It's things like that that puts me back where I may be down, but it causes you to look up. It's things like that where they say where you're broken and you got cracks, but it's in the cracks that the light can get in. So that's why it's things like that. It's like the way they say people during the Corona time, right? Crisis always breeds creativity. People got creative because of the crisis. People found ways to reinvent themselves, to do things, to launch podcasts, to do stuff. Everybody, creative. Crisis breeds creativity. And just like that, when I'm down, every time God will put me down so that brother, I can see something greater. And so I went through that hell to find out, to be blessed is the uncanny innate ability to succeed over adversity. If I didn't have the adversity, I wouldn't figure out how blessed I am. Look at where I am now. Man, I thank God. Now, it didn't make any monkey sense. That's country. Didn't make any monkey sense why I was going through it when I went through it. But now on this side of it, brother, I thank God I went through it, because I wouldn't be here at this state as happy as I am right now, as free as I am right now, as much as I know right now, and so much, brother.
So
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so bridge the gap, right? Because you left off in the story. You're in the courtroom with a $500,000 lawsuit, and then all of a sudden you're happy again. So how did
settle all that stuff, just all the bankruptcy, all that stuff, make it. I did that. I'll take that. And whatever, 12 so years to have that on my credit. And guess what? I've done more than 99.9% of everything that I left. I've done more. I've seen more. I've smiled more. I've gone more. I've got more. It's amazing. It's amazing. And so I just, the way we say, don't try to figure it out, obey it out. I'll say it again, real easy. Stop trying to figure it out, obey it out. There's some of you, you'll sit there trying to figure out, why is this? How is this? This and that. Obey it out. Trust God. Trust God. I got, I know y'all see me in the suit and everything, but I got tattoos all on my back and all on my arms and everything. But on my arm, right? If God be for me, it's on my arms all the way across from side to side. If God be for me, who can be against me? Jeremiah 29:11. I wake up every morning praying. I know I'm in alignment with your perfect will, that you have a plan to prosper me, to bring me hope, to bring me good. No, that's when I fall on my knees every day and I pray that. And that's why I'm crazily blessed. So
there you are.
I hope I ended the story, but the story is I just continued in the next thing and served. From there, I helped Fred Harmon, one of the owners of a co-owner of the Golden State Warriors. So we were building a nutritional brand. I got involved then in the whole CBD industry. And then from there, my wife and I we got involved in the skincare space some 15 plus years ago. Whereas just 2 years, even after being learned, I didn't know why I was doing that then, because that's where I left from there to get into the skincare space. I didn't know, but that was preparing me for where I am now. K-Beauty. It brings me back full circle. That I went through then was preparing me for everything I was going through then. You see, stop trying to figure it out, obey it out. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. All things work together for the good of them who love you and are called according to your purpose. Stop trying to figure it out. Obey it out. And so I just
What was the turning point?
Man, my turning.
Do you think there was one?
I know they always say that you have about 7 or 8 defining moments in your life. I know we say that all. And I can't say it's been a process. I don't think it's been a turning point. I think it's like my life's lessons. It's like, one, see yourself as God sees you. I have a 12-point curriculum to my life. So I think it's been that compiled over time. And so to see yourself as God sees you, that goes back to those 5 questions. So a turning point could have been, I answered those 5 questions. But then also a turning point also, because I was stuck for a minute in reflecting, reliving all of that, is to stop the blame game.
That's a big one.
Brother.
That's a big one.
Well, but look though, I'm not blaming them, but then also what about all of those triggers to my trauma where I'm blaming how I was raised? I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. All of those things are those memes. It comes from The Biology of Belief is one book, and Science of the Mind. And one is by Richard Brody and the other is by Bruce Lipton. And it talks about how a virus spreads. And it's the same way that a virus duplicates, it infiltrates, and it spreads. And so the same way how a virus does, corona and all of that, the same way how that does, well, we have viruses in the mind. It's the study of memes, memetics. I'm not talking about the memes on Instagram. No, memetics. It's the virus of the mind. And they spread from generation to generation to generation. Your grandmama told you some stuff that ain't true. Your mama told you some stuff that ain't true. Your friends been telling you some stuff. It ain't true. And so I began to answer those things as well. And so then I stopped blaming how I was raised. I stopped blaming what I didn't have. I stopped blaming because I realized that those things weren't true. Where did they come from? So anyway, So that was a part of my process. And then, of course, as I've always taught, is that you got to learn to discipline your disappointments and distract your distractions. I distract the hell that's going on because I stay in hustle mode. Hustle mode. My word for this year is hustle hard. Hustle hard. I'm not hustling hard enough. And that ain't a street term. That's just, look, man, I'm not talking about street hustle the way y'all think hustle. I'm just saying hustling, getting about it, make it happen. Stop making the excuses that you don't know too much. You don't know how to do. You're not qualified enough. Those are memes that are actually lies. And so anyway, those are the things. And then problems. Of course, we all have problems. But see, no, I don't have problems. I only have challenges, because a problem is a human definition of an opportunity to grow. So I don't have any problems. I only have challenges, and I can solve that. So anyway, that's just 4 of my points of a 12-point curriculum that I live on. But so that's why it hasn't been a point. It's been a process. And it's still.
Well, when you say that, sometimes that's liberating for people that are listening, because they're waiting for the other shoe to drop, or they're waiting for their turn. And you're saying the exact opposite. You're like, I'm not waiting. I'm in hustle mode. Like, I'm bringing this stuff on myself.
That's it. Here, I'll give you the 5th one. I had to help out a lot of kings there. Realizing that you're not alone. You're not alone. There's somebody, because sometimes, like, nobody is going through the hell I'm going through. Nobody has ever experienced. Man, please, Tim Allen, the great Tim Allen from Tool Time, or what, Santa Claus. He plays Santa Claus. Y'all remember? Some of y'all ain't old enough to remember Tim Allen. But Tim Allen, prior to we knowing Tim Allen in the Kalamazoo airport was arrested for cocaine trafficking or something. And he was arrested, and they put him in a holding cell, right? And while he was in there was a urinal or a commode in the middle of this holding cell with about 30 other brothers around in there waiting to get their case called and everything. He's like, man, please. He's sitting in there. This is Tim Allen. Before we knew him as the actor and all that, this is Tim Allen. This is it. And he's sitting in there. He's like, I can't, I'm not going there. I don't know what's going to happen to me. They may abuse me, and all this stuff. I'm not doing it. He just held it. He sat there in this holding cell. Just wait. He was like, I'm not going to the bathroom. I will do it on myself, but I'm not going to that commode in the middle of the room. All of a sudden, a few hours later, he couldn't help it. It was building up. He said, forget it. Whatever. I'm going to have to take my chances. And he went to that commode in the middle because he could no longer hold it. All of a sudden, Big Brother started walking toward him. And then another one did. And another one did. All of a sudden, there was about 6 of them coming to him while he was on that commode. He was fearful. He didn't know what was about that. And as they got closer to him, they all turned their backs to him and formed a shield around him so that he could handle his business. It was in that very moment that Tim Allen realized, wow, they too know exactly what I felt and what I was going through in that very moment. You're not alone. Somebody else is going through the same stuff that you've been through. Somebody else has gone through the same nights of praying and crying and worrying and all those types of things. Somebody else, there's a brother. There's a brother right there. There's a brother right here. We know what you've been through. You're not alone. We see you. And guess what? You will get to the other side, and you will be so much stronger and so much better. This is the last story I'll tell though, AJ, and I don't know how many more questions, but look here.
Well, I just wanted to pause just right there and say, remember at the beginning where I said I have no clue where this is going? I really didn't have Tim Allen on the commode on my bingo card that we was going to talk about on this episode, but only you could deliver that so eloquently. I needed to just say that right then and there, but go ahead, brother, please.
They took, and this is why I honor this call, and this is why I even agreed to do this call, because I knew who you were, and just by the name of it, I knew the intent. And they took all these theologians, philosophers, and they had them at a retreat over in England somewhere. And they were doing a study about men and the world and healing. And they did it. They had this exercise where they put a puzzle in front of the most educated scholars in the world. And the puzzle was a picture of the world. And they could not, for the life of them, put this puzzle back together. They couldn't do it. They finally, after hours of just putting a puzzle, trying to put it together, they left out and took a break. One of the workers had their son there that day, and a little boy came and he saw the puzzle while all of the philosophers were on their break. And he came and he saw this puzzle, and unbeknownst to them, he saw that there was another puzzle or picture on the other side. He turned all the pieces, the hundreds of pieces over while they were out, and he put the pieces together. And the picture on the other side was a picture of a man. And it was from there that when they came back and they saw that the puzzle had changed sides and the puzzle had been pieced back together, they saw that the answer was the way to put the world back together is to put the man together first.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 100% that's what this is all about. Brother Johnson, I'm so glad we did this. I'm so glad we did this. It's been a long time coming, man, but I truly appreciate all your time. Do me a favor. Before we get out of here, let everybody know how they can connect with you. Obviously, they'll be able to connect with you inside of the app, but do you have socials or anything else you want to share with everybody? If not,
yeah, they can find you on Instagram. Yeah, they can. Yeah, right. All the professional, all the LinkedIn stuff. Of course, I'm out there, and I sent that to your team. So if they want to put all of that, LinkedIn and all that. But look, I'm a brother just like everybody else. So Jermaine T. Johnson, 72 on Instagram. Jermaine T. The T is for trillionaire. No, but Jermaine T.
Let's go.
No, it's Tyrone. But Jermaine, my grandma, man, please. I tell people, boy, please. They knew. Look, Jermaine Tyrone. I mean, my man, please. They knew who I was on a resume though before I even.
That's right. There. He black. He black.
Fleetwood Coupe de Ville. Look here, Jermaine T. Johnson, 72 on Instagram. That's my personal Instagram, guys. Wherever you're at, hit me up. Whatever. I love everybody to life. I don't love you to death. I love you to life. But wherever you're seeing this, I want you to live your dreams. I want you to live them out loud. I want you to live them on your terms. And guys, whatever, stay plugged in to anything that this brother is doing, because he himself is a testament to what God can do, and that you're just rewriting that story and you haven't gotten to the final chapter yet. And so that's why I cannot wait to see how this broadcast or how this podcast is going to grow and continue to grow, because it's in it. The purpose of it is in the name of it, Comeback Kings. And I understand I have been through everything, and to see me here today, to see him here today, it's a true testament that your story is not over. There's so much more in you. There's a gift in you that the world needs to see. And you get around brothers like me and Brother AJ to help you to identify what it is, because we need to see you. Your kids need to see you. Your family needs to see you. This world needs to see there is a problem in the world that only you can solve. There is something in you, an answer in you that the world needs to come from you. You are here on an assignment, and we don't want you to take anything to your grave. We want you to live full but die empty. Live full but die empty. Don't take it to your grave. Let's get it out of you. Fulfill your assignment. Fulfill your purpose. Answer that calling. And remember, we love you to life. Y'all be blessed.
Let's go, Brother Johnson. There you guys have it. Jermaine T. Johnson. The T stands for trillionaire. Thank you so much for being with us.
Shalom.
And guys, listen, continue to go out there and live your dreams like he says. And here's the deal. Your success is all about you. Your setbacks do not define you, but your comebacks will. Until the next episode. Peace. That does it for another episode of the Comeback Kings podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, leave us a review, and come join the after party inside the app at cbknetwork.com. And remember, your past doesn't define you. Your comeback will.